Hello and welcome back to our YouTube channel, Verified Academy YouTube channel. Of course, in the previous video we began discussing the idea of Lambda functions in Python, and we've given a solid introduction, the basic syntax, and a few examples. Let's begin from where we left off. We'll talk about the mapping function and how it is used together with the Lambda function. So we can apply our Lambda function to every element in an iterable or iterable sequence. Yep, iterable sequence by using the built-in map function provided by Python. So the map function alongside the Lambda function you find will be very useful and handy once you begin working on data sets. Say you have a pandas data frame and you want to apply a particular transformation to every single row in a column. You use the map and the Lambda function together to do that. So I would like you to pay attention to this part of the video where you learn the skill of applying the map function to an iterable sequence and alongside the Lambda function in Python. If you are interested to see a full review around the syntax and the use of the map function in Python, you can find that in this link. Okay, once you have access to the notebook, please click on the link. It takes you to where you find much more review of this particular function called the map function, with some code example also. The basic syntax of the map function is given here below. It says you have to use the map and a curved bracket lambda v1, which is of course the variable you would work with, the expression, and then the iterable sequence or sequences will be given. Let's see an example. Here we want to square each element in a list. Alright, so remember we discussed list comprehension in a previous video. The same implementation of list comprehension will be used here, but the power of the map is that it can be assigned or it can be applied to pandas data frame. Alright, so this is what this function does. It goes into the list. Now with the lambda a full column a to the power of 2, this function actually squares numbers. Of course we've seen this function in the previous example. Because we want to apply this function to every element of a list, then we had to bring in the map function. Alright, so the map function here is what applies this function to every element in the list, right, by calling the list here within the map function. And the list keyword that is outside the function simply converts the output to a list. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll break this function down bit by bit for better understanding. When I take out the map function from this, and then if we have this map function wrapped around a curved bracket and you give it any input, say 6, this is the output. It squares 6. I hope I'm communicating. Now with the map function, this is saying, oh, this function, this lambda function we've defined, please go into the lists of numbers that we have here and squared each of those numbers. Let me take this here because I'm here to run the cell above. Let me also define the list right here. So I say go into the list and square each of the number, and then what do you see? You see the output. So this tells you, gives you the location of the map function in memory, map at this location, but it's not showing you any output. For you to see the output, to see the square of each of these numbers, that was the reason why I had to use the list keyword or list function to convert whatever function manipulation or a implementation that had happened here. So once I run this cell, you will see the list of numbers because I have called lists to the map function. Can you see? So the map function will apply the lambda function to each element in the list of numbers. I hope this is clear enough. So that is the power of the map function. All right, let's look at the filter or filtering function. Now, unlike the map function, which applies a lambda function to all elements in a list, the filter function is used to select particular elements meeting some specific conditions or requirements from a sequence of elements. This sequence can be any iterator like list, sets, tuples, even PD, rows in the pandas data frame. The filter function can be applied to lambda functions as well. Just like the map function, you have the filter function, then you give it the map function, the parameter, the expression, and the iterable sequence. If you want to see further documentation around the filter function, then you visit the link right here. Let's look at an example. Here, we want to return true for list values greater than 4. Now we have sequence of numbers or list of numbers assigned to the variable name called sequences. Our interest here is to look through this sequence and then return true for the list or the value that is greater than 4. This is how to implement that. Now I've assigned the function or the expression to the variable name called filtered result, and I say filter lambda x such that x is greater than 4. From where? From sequences. So each x will be picked from this list called sequences, and you test if that value is greater than 4. If it is, then we return true. Let's print a list of this filtered function. Now if we don't call list, we would also see it as just the location the filtered function is stored in memory. That's why you have to convert it to list. Now let's run this function and see the output. Can you see? So it returns true for all numbers that are greater than 4. We have 10, 8, 7, 5, 11. Other numbers present in the list are less than 4. So think of how this is going to be very useful and helpful once we begin to implement, work on data structures, and if we intend to filter out some data sets from a data frame, we have to use the filter function. So that is it, and thank you for watching this video to the end. Other parts of the notebook are exercises for you to implement the lambda function, the filter function, and the map function. So there are expected outputs for you, which will guide you on what you should or what your output should be once your function is written well. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you've learned something from this. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you have questions, please leave your questions in the comment section. Or if you're a student, of course, one of our students at the Lambda Academy, you can always discuss this during the live session. So if you are looking at learning data analytics up to a pro level, please reach out to us at the Lambda Academy. We'll be happy to get you on board and get you started with your journey as data analyst. Thank you very much once more for watching. Please, if you're yet to subscribe to this YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe, like, and share our videos. See you again in another series of videos. Goodbye.